Welcome to that 80 show, and it's been very confusing keeping a schedule for us because we recorded 2 weeks in advance, then we didn't record, then we're here. So we're now effectively next week. Like I said, it's back to the future and the whole thing. I was in London.
Yes.
That's where I've been. No, I boo-booed. So my cousin and I have a day together. We go, he's off work. I'm free I went to a conference. So we say, okay, cool, let's go into town. What are we going to do? Maybe we're going to watch a movie, whatever. As we arrive in town, we see posters for the Back to the Future musical. And he goes, I boo-booed. He goes, you know that if for the matinee shows, the tickets are like nothing. They would rather have people in the audience than nothing.
Right.
So if you like show up like 10 minutes before the show, he's like, it's so free, it's disgusting.
Okay.
I'm like, no way. He's like, why didn't we do that? Could have gone to see Back to the Future, the musical in London, but I didn't.
Were you too late?
I was out of time.
Oh.
If you get that,
I do.
Dori gives me a very dirty look.
How much further can my eyes roll back?
I have to start off with something. Okay, just don't roll them just yet because
there's so much to come.
A crossover event of my life. Okay, now 2 things I love from the 80s: He-Man, Ninja Turtles,
Right.
Porky's.
3 things.
2 of the things combined, unfortunately not Porky's being one of them, there is going to be a crossover comic event of the decades, a Masters of the Universe, Teenage Mutant Ninja crossover, Ninja Turtles crossover, every 80s kid's dream. It's called the Turtles of Grayskull, and it's going to be a crossover once-off comic book series where the Ninja Turtles meet He-Man and battle enemies.
You wrote this, didn't you?
Dori, it is right here on my screen. It is from Screen Rant. Okay, I've not made anything up. There you go for your viewing pleasure. Take a look at that. Turtles of Grayskull. There's Skeletor in it. Skeletor and Shredder combining forces.
This makes me realize that you are not unique in the world. Someone else shares your brain.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, like you could go, is this an AI fever dream? You know,
No, it's a Paulo fever dream.
It's a Paulo fever dream. Best part is there's a toy line coming out.
Oh, dear.
Of course,
Now
2
you're
of the
in
most
trouble.
cynical cash grabs ever.
Mm-hmm.
There is a toy line
That's
coming
actually
out.
the thinking behind this, I think.
Because believe it or not, I don't love reading comic books. I don't.
Yeah.
I find the way, like I used to love as a kid, but I don't know, maybe my adult brain just can't put the stuff together. I love the toys. So I just had to.
But you still have an adult brain. Let's just be clear.
I do. Yeah, I do. But so just to tell you that, I felt you needed to know it. You know that there is a crossover event. Am I saying I would like this comic book? Somebody to buy it for me. I could be saying that. I don't know. But it's not out of the realms of possibility.
How much is it?
Well, it's not going to be a lot. Comic
But
books.
we have to order it from overseas, surely.
I'm sure I could get it, yeah.
You think?
Oh, yeah, my comic book network, comic nerd network goes far and wide.
Okay.
I'll find it. I met a lot of comic book nerds. I started making a documentary, an 80s show, that 80s show documentary called Money Keys. Now, if you're not South African, we know a lot of you aren't. Money Keys means little action figures, right? It means
Yes.
little men.
Yes.
And in Afrikaans colloquially, it's money keys when you get an action figure. And I started speaking to a lot of guys who collect all sorts of action figures, but I specifically spoke to guys in the 80s kind of realm.
Yeah.
We're big nerds. We're big nerds.
Well, I mean, if they've been collecting since the 80s, they're probably sitting on a small fortune, right?
They are, yeah. Firstly, these things are worth nothing.
Oh.
Because you got to understand, they were mass produced.
Oh.
You know, so, I mean, there's no value in it. The only way it's really worth something is if it's still in the box. And, I mean, who's keeping that shit in the box? You're taking it out, you're playing with it. Nah.
Okay, not these people.
Nah, they're taking it out and playing with it. They're a lot younger. They're not from the 80s. They're kids who maybe late 80s. A lot of kids, like maybe the 90s. A lot of kids, they grew up and couldn't get the toys. They didn't have money or access. And now as they're older, they treat themselves as adults to the stuff that they never had.
One day I will have that Fisher-Price garage. One day, Paulo.
I had the firehouse.
I want the garage.
I had the little firehouse, yeah. Yeah, you will get that garage.
I will.
You will get
I
it.
had the schoolhouse. So boring.
I can
Didn't
imagine.
do anything.
Like the concept of a kid as when I get home from school,
Yeah.
I want to play school.
And it was literally a building.
Yeah.
Whereas the garage had that lift thing that you put the little car in,
Yeah, that
and
was
you
good stuff.
turned the thing, and it went up, and then you could make the car go down the ramp.
Yeah.
But remember, Paulo, it was the 80s, gender stereotypes. That was a boy's toy. Therefore,
Yes.
I could not have it.
Okay, so that's what was happening there. No, I get it. More what bothered me, Fisher-Price people don't have arms.
They don't have arms?
They don't have Fisher-Price people. They don't have arms. They're just little heads with a body. They little pigs. They don't have arms.
I'm thinking of Playmobil. They have
Playmobil,
arms.
yes, Playmobil have arms. Playmobil's a fake Lego. Yeah. Playmobil have arms. Dori, we love on that 80s show. We love sitcoms. We love going back to the 80s, thinking of sitcoms, and I found on the same website while I was looking for research for this week's show, I got distracted by the He-Man and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover, but I found something for us. We love ranking on the show, right?
Yes.
We love a listicle. Those things are still going strong, hey?
Oh, yeah.
There was a stage in the internet where listicles were all over the place, and you think, it's passing fad. People love.
No, people love them.
They
There's now
love
TikTok.
ranking.
TikTok's good for listicles as well.
TikTok's huge for listicles. So what I want to read to you, what this is, the 10 best 80s sitcom families. So not just the sitcoms, the
actual
families.
characters.
How much did you want to be part of this family? So number 10 is the Stratton family from Silver Spoons.
I was thinking that would be higher in the ranking because they were rich.
They were rich. That was their whole thing. Now, if you remember, Silver Spoons was about a rich family.
Yeah.
Ricky
Schroeder.
Ricky Schroeder. There was
I
no.
don't remember anything else about it. What was the storyline?
Okay.
What was the thing?
Silver Spoons is a family sitcom that asks the question: what would it be like to be raised by a man-child that made a fortune selling toys? In the show, Edward Stratton, the dad, finds it hard to raise his son Ricky, as he often throws money at the problem. But as the show progresses, both father and son eventually meet in the middle, understanding each other beyond material possessions. So I remember Ricky was you didn't like him because he tried to buy people. Yeah, I remember we weren't meant to like. No,
Edward. Oh, Ricky.
Ricky.
Oh,
Because the dad was from humble beginnings, got rich.
right.
And then Ricky was born rich.
Okay.
And then the dad kept trying to keep him grounded, but he had butlers, he had manservants.
Who played the dad again?
The dad was played by John Houseman.
That was it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, would never get that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I know who he is.
On this list of the family sitcoms, in my first of two stories about them today, the Bundy family from Married with Children.
Oh, God, no. No.
No,
I would never want to be part of that family.
Dori, they were so real. Now just go back. Okay, now the Bundys, Married with Children. He was Ed Harris's character. Al Bundy was a shoe salesman. A very big house for a shoe salesman.
Yep.
Very big house for a shoe salesman. His family hated him. His daughter was a little bit friendly, stereotype. The son was not the brightest. The dog was probably the brightest person in the family.
Right.
But remember, at this time, we're seeing these picture-perfect families, okay, that nobody could relate to. The Bundys were normal people. They've argued.
I can think of some other examples of normal people, which will probably come up on the list.
In the 80s.
Yes.
That weren't perfect. I loved Married with Children. Still do love Married with
I
Children.
know.
Looking forward to a
But I
Married
think
with Children story, I'm going to
It
tell
would
you.
be a nightmare to be part of that family, though. I'm sorry.
You think so?
Yes.
I think they're the most real family that's ever been on TV.
Doesn't mean it'll be good.
Okay. The next family is the Harper family from the Carol Burnett show. I'm not really going to go on to this. Maybe if you're familiar with it. I don't remember the Carol Burnett show.
I remember parts of the Carol Burnett show. I don't remember there being a family. I remember wasn't it a skit show? Like
It
skits?
was, but it all involved. I don't remember. I don't remember watching that.
Remember, yeah. Moving on.
The Winslow family from Family Matters. Now, how much airtime did we give them? Because we were all about Steve Urkel. I think they played on the family like in season 1. Then it just became the Urkel show.
Yeah.
And everything was a vehicle
I
to
didn't
him.
watch much of that show, I'll be honest. So
Yeah.
can't say.
No, I mean, like they say, the show would have been cancelled if it wasn't for Steve Urkel. And then they just knew it and they're like, listen, this is the Urkel show. We are just a device for your shenanigans. Again, not a good family. That's what I say. Why are the Bundys so low down? They're below non-existent family.
Right.
I don't even watch. You like the show Punky Brewster, so the Brewster family?
No, I never watched it.
Is it not that? Oh, it's My Two Dads.
Yes.
My Two Dads. So just to remind you, when Punky Brewster premiered in 1984, the heartwarming family sitcom brought a dose of punky power to television sets everywhere. Punky, played by Soleil Moon Fry, was a child who, along with her dog Brandon, I love when dogs have human names.
Yeah.
I love it, like Kevin, Michael.
My first cat was Winston.
But you see, but that's like that great cat name. But when it's a human name,
is Winston not a human name?
Like it's not like a new age human. It's not a Brandon.
Yeah, like a Gary.
Gary. Her and her dog were abandoned by her parents. Punky Brewster was
I never watched
dark.
this show. I'd heard of it, obviously, but I had no idea what it was about.
She gets found by a guy called Henry Vernemont, and he adopts her and becomes her father. And then it's just shenanigans. But I remember it was quite a dark... And Punky Brewster there was an animated series, there was comic books, there was a whole toy line. That's dark, right?
I mean, sounds like it had a good ending.
She had a shit family, in other words, though. She didn't have a good family.
We're not talking about her new adopted family.
Yeah, I suppose. You're not going to like this one either. The Tanner family from Alf.
Yeah.
So Alf, alien life form.
I don't really remember the family. I mean, I remember what they looked like, but I don't remember their relationships with each other.
Again, the Steve Urkel effect.
Yes.
As like the family's just their ploy. Keep the cat away from Alf. Don't let him eat. The Seaver family from Growing Pains.
Yeah, they were definitely too perfect, right?
They were the perfect made in the 80s sitcom family. The plot of the series went like this. Jason Seaver Allenthek moves his therapy practice home so that his wife can go back to work after spending 15 years as a stay-at-home mom. He's now in charge of 3 rambunctious kids. Mike, Kirk, Cameron, the less said the better.
Yes.
The troublemaker and eldest of the Seaver kids, Carol, played by Tracy Gold. The smart one, and Ben, Jeremy Miller, who is sort of in between but looks up to his brother. It was... typical 80s stuff, situation, they solve the situation, everyone learns a lesson, family loves each other.
I remember I modeled a little bit of my look on Tracy Gold, though. She had a good style.
I had a huge crush on Tracy Gold. She was one of my sitcom favorites.
I used to want to look like her. I think I did my hair like her. I remember that.
This picture, is probably from the later years because you'll notice in the corner, there's a young Leonardo DiCaprio. Because he came into it. Do you remember?
I vaguely remember that. Wow, yeah.
Yes, he came into it. He was like adopted, or he was a troubled kid, or
wasn't he like the neighbor's kid or something?
A patient, yes. And the family kind of took him in because his family was a bit troubled.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm thinking of What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Yeah, I don't know.
But young Leonardo DiCaprio was definitely in that.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the worst family to be part of.
Competing with him was the Keaton family.
Now that...
Are you competing with the Keaton?
So here's what I'm saying. Weren't they a normal family?
The Keaton family.
Yeah.
Of course, they were from Family Ties, which was a mirror image of what the 80s came to be, both culturally and politically. By the time the show premiered on NBC in the fall of 1982, America was embracing the conservative politics and culture being cultivated by Ronald Reagan, and no one loved it more than Alex P. Keaton, of course, Michael J. Fox. He was very political. He wanted to be president of the United States.
He was a young Republican.
Keaton, a young Republican, had no problem wearing a tie and carrying a briefcase to school, espousing the virtues of the Republican Party and showcasing his intellectual superiority. But here was the thing, though, his parents were hippies. So completely counterculture to what Ronald Reagan was talking about, where everything was consumerism and excess. His parents were ex-hippies.
I think that's what made them quite a normal, real family. You said that the Bundys were real. They were real because they were all such different characters as well. So the parents were hippies. The sister was a bit of an airhead. And then the younger sister was I think she was just weird.
And then I don't remember, a very much younger brother.
That came later, I think.
Because this
what was his
is
name?
much, much later. It doesn't mention here, but in the picture there is a very much younger.
I mostly remember
all the kids look older.
Okay.
Yeah. So this must be like last season or 2.
It's entirely possible. I never finished watching it.
Completely.
Yeah.
So I found the Keaton family too perfect.
Really?
I did.
They definitely had lots of disagreements.
Spin City, was that the spiritual spin-off of Family Ties? Because Michael J. Fox does become a politician, kind of.
But it's not, it's not a literal spin-off.
No, but it's a spiritual spin-off, I think so.
I suppose.
So that is family number 3. Number 2.
So far, I would choose that family.
Choose that family?
Yeah.
Not the Tanner family from Full House?
Definitely not.
Oh, fuck, they annoyed me.
I mean, as cute as John Stamos is,
I mean,
No.
John Stamos is going to cover up a multitude of sins.
Right.
He's going to elicit the thoughts of a multitude of sins as well.
But then you got to put up with all those annoying kids. No.
So many
And
of
the
them.
annoying adults. No.
So many
No.
of them. They were annoying.
So annoying.
You know, Bob Saget, right, passed away a few years ago. And the crazy amount of comedians who came out to say he was such a dear friend of theirs. And his stand-up was like ridiculously racy. And you go, but you were America's Funniest Home Videos dad. You were the Full House dad. You were geeky dad.
That was definitely a persona and not the real guy.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure. Yeah, I think what you got to compare here is because you go the Full House, the Tanner family. Then when they did Fuller House, you go, did I want to be part of that Fuller House? And I did
Never watched any of that.
No, I did
Yeah.
not. I gave it a chance because you see what they did is they had John Stamos in the first few episodes. Draw you
To
in.
reel you in.
Say, oh, John Stamos is going to be part of this. No. No John Stamos. So they're very high up here. Number 2, I suppose the blended family type vibe, which was quite progressive late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Because it was like the mom had passed away, you got the uncles and this whole blended family type of dynamic. It wasn't the nuclear American family.
Yeah.
So what is the number 1
I can't think what you haven't
sitcom
said yet.
family?
Wait, let me think.
It
We're
can't be
talking 80s, eh?
80s. You can't be who's the boss. Some of these ran into the 90s. It can't be Who's the Boss family.
I mean, that's not a bad one.
That's
though.
the only obvious one that's not here. The Huxtable family. Okay,
Whoa,
let's just
okay,
wait. Just hold on.
Let's go back.
Let's
to the
separate
80s.
Bill
Let's
Cosby. Take Bill Cosby out of it.
Get in the DeLorean.
Yes,
go
go
back,
back.
to the 80s.
Remember what we're seeing here.
Yes.
Let's get their motivation why the Huxtable family is the number 1 sitcom family. Bill Cosby may be a disgraced figure today, but one cannot deny his impact. It was must-see TV. It was must-see TV.
It was.
It really was.
I
Now,
loved it.
I think, like, listen, just to talk to anybody, I think it was quite revolutionary no matter where you were in the world. In South Africa, to have a sitcom about an all-black family
Yes.
with a predominantly all-black cast
Yes.
on primetime TV was like, you must understand how big this
And
was.
like upper middle class.
Upper middle class. So this
Yeah.
wasn't like the Jeffersons were moving it on up, right? But this was like, he was
It
a
was not
doctor.
Sanford and Sons.
It was, that's okay, right? Thank you,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't Sanford and Sons. He was a doctor. His wife was also. She was a lawyer.
She was something.
She was
used
also-
to wear the power suit.
Yes,
I
and
don't
you're
know.
like, so that was a very weird thing to see on South African TV. And I think all around the world, but South Africa, like that was a key thing to notice. It was the first to showcase the upward mobility of the black family, with both the mother and father having well-paying careers, and the family living in an immaculate Brooklyn brownstone. Right? Can you imagine how much that? I'm sure it must be somewhere how much that house
Yeah.
must have cost, and must be
Yeah.
worth now. Not only that, but the show was hilarious. It was very good, providing plenty of iconic moments that will forever be etched in the memory of those who grew up watching the Huxtables here every Thursday night. Here in South Africa, I can't remember when. But not a bad shout.
No, it's not bad. I would be kind of torn between that and the Keatons. I still wouldn't mind the Keatons.
The political leanings I don't like of the Keaton. I think I didn't get it.
Yeah, maybe he was,
Maybe
maybe
I'd-
he was a bit too annoying that way. And I mean, I'd like to have Lisa Bonet as a sibling.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. I had to think a bit about that one. So what? Lisa. Yes. Okay. Yes. So not a bad. Okay, that's not bad. I'll take the Huxtables.
Yeah,
Still think the Bundys are the most realistic.
I think you'd fit in best with the Bundys.
Fit in with the Bundys. Let me jump forward because let me actually talk about it now.
Yeah.
I thought it was a rumor. I thought it was an AI thing. They're bringing back Married with Children.
Really?
The trailer dropped 2 weeks ago.
But is it Christina Applegate's the wife?
Animated series.
An animated series.
The best. Because they spoke about a reboot for years. And you're like, oh, how are they going to do this? Because everyone is so different.
Yeah.
Even in the trailer, they make a joke about how can you afford this house? There's a massive sinkhole underneath the house. That's why they can afford it.
Okay.
Okay. So
What's the trailer?
it's a new tech. I'll share it that 80 Show SA Facebook page. If you haven't liked it, give it a like or you stink. Okay?
Okay.
That's not me. Meta says like our page or you stink. It's written by the original producers and it is owned by Sony Pictures. They've been working on the project for over a year and the first trailer came out. They haven't said where it's going to land. More likely on Hulu because it's a Fox show, so it could possibly pop up somewhere there. Not major details, but one of the cool things, all the original characters, the actors, voice their characters.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's great. It's set back then, so like Kelly's not older. They're the same age.
I think this could be good.
It doesn't say if it's set in the 80s. Okay. From the trailer, I couldn't really tell. Married with Children, the animated series, will put the trailer up, that 80s show essay. I'm so glad it's not a fake. I thought it was some sort of fan-created fake.
Yeah.
But it is true. So that will pop up, I'm sure, still this year sometime. You on TikTok?
No.
No, me neither. So apparently, Bronski Beat, because every now and again, an 80s artist will suddenly pop up in the charts.
Yes.
Why is this person back in the charts? And it's because of TikTok.
Right.
Bronski Beats are part of a TikTok dance challenge, also conveniently in the 40th anniversary of Small Town Boy.
Huh.
Right? There's a TikTok dance challenge called Dance, where people get their parents to dance like they danced in the 80s.
I'm up for that.
Yeah. So...
I'll do it right now.
And then I didn't know it's a challenge. I didn't know it's a challenge. And it's to Small Town Boy by Bronski Beat. There's a couple of videos here. Of course, Jimmy Somerville of Bronski Beat took part in the challenge, being a good sport about it. I don't know if it was just coincidence that's the 40th anniversary, if this is something that they manufactured.
Is there a hashtag?
There's Bronski Beat, Small Town Boy, 80s dancing. Okay. It's called 80s dancing.
I will have to ask my teenager to help me, but I will go onto TikTok.
No. Let me tell you the best thing for us. Best thing. YouTube. People put together these TikTok dance challenges on YouTube. For us oldies. I don't even have to go on a TikTok.
Okay.
Hey?
All right.
That's good because here's one. Yeah, it's like a compilation. So
awesome.
you don't even go through.
They'll compile it.
Somebody's taken the best ones and put on YouTube for us.
There you go. So let's put that on our 80s show.
That
Facebook
will go
page.
on that 80s show SA Facebook page as well. So that's Bronski Beat.
Cool.
And now we get into my favorite part of the show where we recommend to one another 80s movies. So recommend, remind, talk about
80s
multimedia experiences. When you say that, I know you don't have a movie.
It's not a movie, but it's actually kind of funny that you've been speaking so much about families, sitcom families, because my thing that I want to talk about today is about a family. It's a very interesting little documentary series that a friend of mine posted about on Facebook. It's a 3-part BBC documentary series that came out in 2009. The whole thing is on YouTube. It's a reality type show, kinda, but not like a competitive reality show. Let me tell you what they did. So they took this, it's first of all, BBC, very British. They took this extremely British family and did an experiment with them where they redid their house. And there's 3 episodes. The first episode is the 70s.
Right.
The next one's the 80s.
Oh, yes.
And then the 90s. And they basically make them live as if they're living in that time. And how it works is each decade, each year is a day.
So familiar.
It's called Electric Dreams.
You might have seen it. So familiar. Yes.
It's a 3-part series. So each day is a year. So, for example, day 1 is 1980, day 2 is 1981, day 3. And every day they get delivered whatever new technology came out that year. They get it delivered to the house. And so
that is
the
outstanding.
actual point of the documentary is to look at how technology affected families over time. Now, I'm admitting I've only watched the 80s episode so far. No, I will watch the others because they kind of all go together.
Electric Dreams.
It's called Electric Dreams. It's on. So if you put Electric Dreams BBC into YouTube, you will find it. They refer quite a bit to the first episode in the second one because they talk about, this is so much better than the 70s. The 70s were so boring. So there's a lot of that. I found it really... Okay, first of all, it's interesting. First of all, British people are so miserable. They really are. So it's very amusing.
Okay,
because they're so grumpy. Especially the dad. He's quite an ass, I have to say.
Is it the same? It's the same family.
It's the same family.
Okay.
So, and I have to say the kids are quite good sports because they range in age. There's like some teenagers and then younger kids. There's one kid who's very little. He probably doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
He's like a toddler. He just
thinks
going with
they've
the flow.
suddenly got poor.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he's just here's a weird gadget for you. And the cool thing about it is amazing soundtrack. So
The BBC are going to get you good music.
Oh,
They get the
there's
good
even
music.
a Wham song in there.
Has to be.
Amazing soundtrack. At one point, the theme from Miami Vice starts playing, and I'm watching with my teenager, and they go, "Your phone's ringing," and I'm like, "No, it's not," because we know that that's my ringtone.
Outrageous. By the way, props to Dori. I got to tell somebody here. We're talking about technology and whatever. Dori figured out how to put a ringtone on an iPhone.
It was hard.
If you have
It
ever,
was so hard.
that is like, I'm not as impressed by any technology as I am by Dori being able to put
Dude, it
what
took
you did.
days. I was determined, though. I was so
you,
determined.
You really, I mean, you
I
did.
needed to find YouTube videos
I
to tell
know.
me how.
I know.
It was not easy.
I mean, it's
Not easy.
I think it's easier to get to the moon. I honestly do.
Yeah, no. It was a challenge, which is why that ringtone's never changing.
Because you
Ever.
can't, you don't know how.
I literally can't. So there's some really cool parts in it that stood out for me. Like I said, they're quite miserable people, but they're quite. The one kid is actually quite very open to it all, and like you can see just enjoying the whole different way of living.
What must be so interesting, I don't know if this comes across because it was made in 2009.
Yeah.
We were nowhere near as technology fucking dependent as we are now,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we didn't, very few of us had iPhones, right? We would have had smartphones.
Yeah.
But so like if you know Wi-Fi in the home, so if you think even
Although this is the
kind
UK,
of like,
they are a bit ahead. So,
but even still,
yeah,
though, I mean,
don't know.
you're talking like a 15-year span, right? And even with us, how technologically reliant we are now
Yo.
compared to then. So it must
no,
be
if
quite.
they made it now, it
No,
would be a
you
whole
just couldn't
different
do it.
story.
Yeah,
It
you
would
just
be a
couldn't
whole
do
different
it.
story. But the cool thing about it is they do it proper. They give them the clothes, they do the hair, they give them the old 80s car.
So can
it's so cool.
So I don't know if you're going to do this, but I've got the list here of the things that they give them from the 80s. Can I go through that?
Please go ahead. I wasn't going to do that.
Okay,
at
so
all.
like Dori says, the car, they give them an Escort 1.3 litre Sinclair C5. That sounds very 80s.
It's a very 80s looking
Because
car.
in the 70s, they got a Cortina, right?
Right.
And they were given a rally chopper, right? So kitchen appliances get given, a microwave oven.
Yeah.
Nothing about that in the 80s.
No, that was like
right?
What they do. What's so interesting about it is, as the show goes on, they give some like info about it. So they go, only 6% of British households had microwave ovens in 1980, kind of thing.
What?
But then they give them a challenge. They go, right, here's a microwave. You have to cook an entire meal only using the microwave. It took them hours because they could only do one dish at a
Because
time.
microwaves were
in the
terrible.
microwave.
Yeah, they were
And they
terrible.
were like, this would have been so much easier if we could have just used the oven.
Yeah,
And the microwave was supposed to be a more convenient thing. Not when
comparatively.
you're cooking a
Yeah.
proper meal.
They also got given a deep fat fryer and a slow cooker.
That must have been in the 70s
It's
because not in the 80s.
okay, so it's under 80s here.
Yeah.
In terms of the technology, the toys and gadgets they were given, a Polaroid camera,
Must have been 70s.
an instant camera, a CD player,
CD player was the 80s.
a VHS.
Yes, that was the funniest part.
Okay.
They get given they actually go to this guy's house and he's like a video. He's a VCR
a pornographer.
No, he's a collector.
He's a pornographer.
He's a collector.
Anybody these days who still has that, you're a pornographer.
And they did that, and they go into the whole
Sorry.
Sony Betamax versus VHS discussion. And they go, why? Which one? What happened? Da, 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 da. You would love it. They go into the whole thing, and then they're like, look, here's the thing. You're gonna have to take VHS. So they take the VHS machine, and something had happened the previous night, which I don't want to give away. You actually got to watch it. It's really kind of cool.
Give it
So I don't
away,
wanna-
Dori. Nobody's watching it. Give it away.
Okay, so they get given a keyboard. Like a
It's like
a Casio tone
yeah.
keyboard. They're like, this was like a big thing for people to have.
Huge, yeah.
So they get given one, and then they're like, but you guys don't know how to play it. So we've got some guys who are here to help you. And 2 members of Ultravox arrive at the house.
Did they even know?
Well, the parents knew. The dad was fanboying all over the floor.
I just slammed my hand on the desk. Imagine that.
Right.
I don't know what this thing is. I don't know who they are, but my God, they know how to make that thing work.
It was so cool. So then the Ultravox guys gave
I'm
them...
glad I made you tell me that.
Yeah. So the Ultravox guys gave them a videotape of a live show, but it was a Sony Betamax. So they get the VCR home, and the one daughter's trying very hard to put the Sony Betamax tape into the VHS
You
machine.
stupid child!
I was literally shouting at the TV going, no, you can't do that!
It'll never work. You'll ruin everything. You'll ruin the VHS. You'll ruin the BTTF. Just don't do it.
Don't do it!
I did it.
Of course you did.
Parents were not happy that day.
No.
They also got given a handheld camera.
Yes, because they got given a task to make a music video.
Nice.
They used "Take on Me" as the song.
Dori, what is this show?
You've got to watch it.
You know,
it's
we
so cool.
spoke earlier about like a fever dream AI that made a Mutant Ninja Turtles He-Man crossover, and now you're talking about casually they're doing. What are you talking about? This show?
Yeah, it's so cool.
They got given handheld video games. They got given a Simon.
Yes.
Oh, I love a Simon. A Spectrum, Commodore 64, Sony Walkman.
Yes, the Walkman was fun.
A synthesizer, as you said, and a Rubik's Cube, which feels to me that was 70s. But
I think the Rubik's Cube, I don't remember that part. Okay.
that's fantastic. What a great show.
It is really fun. But I mean, like I say, it's quite amusing because so when they realize they only have a Sony Betamax cassette, they're like, right, we have to go out and get a VHS. So the dad goes driving, and that's where the Miami Vice theme song goes in. He goes driving around town trying to find an old video shop. And he finds a Blockbuster, funnily enough. This is 2009.
2009, so they were still hanging on.
But they only had DVDs.
My daughter, she's 14. She remembers going to a video store, exactly, and only had DVDs.
Yeah, so it only had DVDs.
Yeah,
and,
she remembers
and they
that.
said, sorry, we can't help. And then he's like, there's another video shop on the other side of town, remember? And he was gone for hours. And they didn't know where he was because there were no cell phones. So they're like, Dad's been at the video shop a very long time. We hope he's okay, because he was gone for hours because he was driving around town trying to find. Then he finds this little hole-in-the-wall video shop where, again, the shelves are just full of DVDs, but the guy had some VHS that he was selling, some old VHSs that he was selling.
I'm not going to say it again, but I'm going to say it again.
Yeah.
Any person in the 2000s with a lot of VHS is a pornographer. Do not buy those VHSs from him.
Well, they never showed us which tapes he bought, but they show the family watching one of them kind of from a distance. But obviously copyright, they can't show what they're watching.
Yeah. Age restriction.
the family was watching.
Ofcom rules.
No, but the family was watching, so we're assuming it wasn't.
If there is a person in your life with a lot of VHS cassettes, ask a question or don't ask a question. Just know.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong.
Right.
I'm not wrong on this.
Anyway, it was kind of funny.
That's awesome. What a great show.
Yeah.
What a great show.
So I'm going to go back and watch the 70s and the 90s because...
So do you think
cool.
as we start, we should start watching this? Because only 3 episodes.
It
Are
is
they
only
30?
3
How long
episodes.
are they?
I mean, I only watched the 80s one because I didn't have time to watch the others first. And I wanted to talk about it.
And you got a
this week.
deadline for the show. Yeah, we
I
got,
had it,
we do stuff for the show.
Work
yeah, I mean,
the show.
geez, we do, you know,
Exactly.
we do prep.
You could probably, it's 3 hours of your life, you know?
Yeah,
it's kind of fun.
I don't hate that.
You get to meet the very grumpy British family. They are so British.
Where do they live?
I don't know.
Bristol, I'm sure.
Who knows?
Probably. Sounds like it. Damn it. What a winner Dori had. That's not even bad. That's not even something I want to try avoid.
Yeah, no, you got to watch it.
So good.
All on YouTube.
That's
Electric
fantastic.
Dreams, BBC.
I want to tell you about a movie that shares a name with a 1960 movie. It even carries this. It goes, same name in the movie, 84. It has nothing to do with the first movie, except kind of like a vaguely similar setting. You know, I love a Razzie Award.
Mm-hmm.
Razzies, if you don't know, it's the Oscars, but for bad movies, bad actresses.
Right.
I love them. I think they're the best things ever. So a couple of weeks ago, talking about all the movies that came out in 1984, I went to go look at the Razzie Awards for 1984. I found this one. It won Razzies for Worst Actress, Worst Movie, Worst Soundtrack, Worst Everything. Okay.
Well,
What did
I
it give?
know it.
It gave Worst Supporting Actress, Worst Picture, nominated for Worst Screenplay, nominated for Worst Musical Score, nominated for Worst New Star. Okay, it is a piece of shit movie. It is called Where the Boys Are, 84. Okay.
That's so familiar.
It's got nothing. Why it has to say 84. Okay, so what
Maybe
it
I
is.
know the original.
That was called Where the Boys Are.
Right.
Set in 1960. Real beach blanket bingo movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So this one, we're now in 1984, and it's spring break. And everyone's going to Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
Well, didn't we just all want to... wow, I want to go to Fort Lauderdale for
Yeah.
spring break, right?
Absolutely.
So you got these 4 college girls. And there are the stereotypes. They're the virginal one. They're the slutty one. They're the one with a long-term boyfriend. They're the geeky one. And now they want to go on spring break. And on the way down, pick up a hitchhiker. He's a good-looking guy. He's going down to Fort Lauderdale. Belongs to a band. He can't believe his luck. He's been picked up by these 4 girls. And now they go to Fort Lauderdale for spring break and sexy shenanigans.
Of course.
Okay.
Is this soft porn?
You know what the thing is, Dori? It's not even.
Oh, no.
It's not even. There's like for an 80s movie of this type,
Yeah.
there's like no nudity. Now, I'm not saying there's not nudity, but for a movie of this type in the 80s,
There's not enough nudity.
It's like no nudity. None. There's almost nothing. Almost nothing.
Do I know any of the cast members?
You would not know any of the cast members. One of them apparently is related to Judy Garland. Okay? But I wouldn't know. Nobody has become... Was Liza Minnelli in this? No. Nobody has become anything.
Right.
Nobody went on to anything. When you watch... So, you know you had this thing in the 80s where high school kids, or college kids at least, did not look like college kids or high school kids.
Right.
They were at least 10 years older.
Yeah.
I know they still do it now.
Yeah.
But I mean, in the 80s, it was bad.
But I'll tell you, some kids at my kid's school look way older than they should be. There's a kid in matric at my kid's school. He could be 25.
Really?
He maybe is.
It could be.
No, but look, the kids look older.
But like...
No, I know what you mean.
No.
They're like way older.
Way older.
Yeah.
Especially in movies.
Yeah.
So like, you know, every now and again, you'll see like these clips of like they filmed kids in high school in the 80s. You go, those kids didn't even look old. They looked like kids, right?
There was that one docky, though, that they did look older.
They did look older. But I think those kids used drugs.
We're talking like Judd Nelson.
Yes.
Sean Penn in Fast Times. Like, these were not kids.
These were not kids, right?
Yeah.
So this was the thing. This movie is like, there's no... For a movie of it's supposed to be a romp. It's supposed to be like a sexy teen comedy. Firstly, they're very not teens.
Yeah.
There's no innocence or fun about them. And this is one of the things why this movie just got panned. Because they go, it's supposed to be like these rediscovering fun little moments. But these women, the 4 main characters, go around with the kind of haggled, put upon, I've seen everything, like of the cast of Sex in the City. So these really cynical, like manipulative, being burnt before.
Hang on, did you actually watch this movie?
I watched parts of it.
Yeah.
I was
Is
looking.
it on YouTube?
Of course, YouTube, Plex, all the fantastic places. Don't watch it. You know, sometimes what's a redeeming factor in these movies, if there's no like nudity,
Yeah.
or even like soft nudity, is the soundtrack will at least be okay.
Right.
You might no, it got nominated for worst score.
Is it a score or a soundtrack?
Both.
Okay.
The worst music ever. Not even.
Give me an example.
No, like imagine, you know, the when the family in Electric Dreams try to play the keyboard. What did they play?
Nonsense.
Better than the score of this movie. And so much of it takes place at parties and bars, whatever. It's just this horrible, generic, honky-tonk, not 80s sounding music. They go, what are you even doing here? Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, through the course of it, the slutty one sleeps with people. The virginal one doesn't sleep with people and realizes that her boyfriend's the right guy. The Carrie Bradshaw shows up at some point just being cynical. Where the boys are is where you should not be.
Okay.
Where they are, don't be there.
Right.
If you're on somewhere where this movie is, go to somewhere else.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is a warning, not a recommendation.
It is a warning. Do not watch this movie.
The Razzies were well received, is what you
Do you know, I think the Razzies were so generous. Because I think you get Razzies, because sometimes even big name movies get Razzies.
Yeah.
There is a subsection of I don't even think this movie was deserving of a Razzie. This wasn't even bottom shelf at the video store. I don't even know where this thing came from. if I had not remembered it or stumbled across it on Plex,
Yes.
it could have just disappeared. And now I've kept it alive. And now it's got a digital footprint, so it'll live on the internet forever.
Because some people will be curious enough to go and check it out.
They
like
may.
me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But don't say I didn't warn you.
I've been warned.
Do not say I didn't warn you. So I go to London, and my suitcase doesn't arrive on the same day with me.
These things happen.
It does happen. It's okay, cool. So I'm kind of like, I'm starting to panic now.
Mm.
Trying to contact the airline, not really getting anywhere. I did get an email that said, your suitcase will arrive, but you'll get it when you get it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, look, I got a
How
conference.
did it not arrive? Like, how did it get onto another plane?
I suspect from day one, it was always going on another plane now that I retrace my thoughts, because I went via Zurich, right?
Okay.
But my changeover was less than an hour. Only when I get back, when I arrive in London with a whole bunch of other South Africans, I'm like thinking about it.
Yeah.
How the hell were they changing our bags over in an hour, right? We barely made the flight. But when I checked my bag in, the guy said, don't worry, I'll make sure your bag gets to London and put a special yellow tag on it.
Oh.
So I don't think my bag was ever on my plane.
Oh, dear.
Anyway.
Hmm.
So now I'm panicking. I'm going, I don't have clothes. I was staying with my cousin. I say, okay, well, what can I use from you? What can I use from me? What can I use from you? Right. So I'm going like, and then we'll spend money. They do compensate you. I've got insurance. But now you're computing a million things.
Yes.
He goes, okay, I'll tell you what. I'll take you to such and such store. I say, oh, such and such store. He says, the clothes there aren't ridiculously expensive, but they're still nice. So I go, oh, I know why the store rings a bell. Our dear friend, we love him, Martin Kemp, has made a range of clothing for the store.
Right.
The best in, what did somebody call it? Thirst Trap Dad clothing.
Thirst Trap Dad.
So it's cool clothing,
Yeah.
but for the elder gentleman.
Right.
Not like
It's not
old.
for the kids.
No, not for the kids.
Mm.
Perfect clothing for someone in their mid 40s to mid 50s.
Right.
Right? So you can still look cool,
Yeah.
still breathable, still nice stuff, but it's not like skin tight. You don't have to be in like super good shape, but you still like look nice,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm going to go buy some Martin Kemp clothes,
Right.
right?
Because you can.
Of course, I looked for Martin. I was hoping that he had underpants, so I could say I'm wearing Martin Kemp's underpants, right? I bought myself a lovely shirt, a
Yes.
blue shirt with little pink flamingos on it.
Oh, nice.
From his range, a nice black T-shirt. That's what men my age wear. We wear
Yes.
black T-shirts all the time. So I bought Martin Kemp clothes.
And they're going to pay you back for them?
Oh, I got paid back already.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I should have bought more.
Yeah.
It wasn't like 300 Rand, 12 pounds. I should have bought more.
So they weren't even overpriced clothes.
No, very cheap. And that was still, I think normal price was like 18 or something. And then my cousin had a card, so he got a sale.
Uh-huh.
They didn't have a lot. I was disappointed because I would have bought so much more.
Yeah.
Lovely clothes range are called TU.
Okay. What does it stand for?
I don't know. True Union, maybe? That makes sense. That could be a clothing brand.
True would make sense.
Yeah, True
That-
Union. Yeah, maybe. Could be.
True us.
Now, I'm telling my cousin, he's a little bit younger than me. I tell him, it's a clothing range from Martin Kemp. Martin Kemp, you guys know. He says, Ronan Kemp? So it's okay, Ronan Kemp is his son. Now, Ronan Kemp is Shirley and Martin Kemp's son.
Right.
And he's a big name radio presenter in the UK.
Yes.
Huge. I think he's just stepped down from his show. So he goes, oh, Ronan Kemp. Is he related to Ronan Kemp? I said, well, it's his dad. But I mean, it's kind of like, okay, I mean, our radio presenter, to be a radio presenter in London on one of the big shows, that's a big thing. Your dad and your uncle are like the great 80s songbook artists.
Yes.
Your mother was part of Wham.
Yes.
George Michael is your godfather.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm very pleased that you're a radio presenter, but you're like, this is, you know what I mean? Like,
You're not getting it.
no, like no disrespect to Ronan,
Yes.
but we're talking royalty here,
Yes.
right? So of course, because I had been Googling Martin Kemp clothes, Martin Kemp underpants, saw some things I maybe didn't want to see, saw some things I did want to see. I get a story, Dori. Oh my God. Do you want to hear a shocker?
Of course.
Martin Kemp fears he never legally married Wham star Shirley in shock admission. What are we talking about?
Okay.
These two have been together since the 80s.
Yeah.
Martin Kemp and Shirley from Wham. If you don't know that Wham had other members besides George and Andrew, we cannot be friends. But Shirley was a member of Wham. Martin Kemp has opened up about marrying Shirley Holliman and admits he fears the showbiz golden couple never officially tied the knot with one another.
Were they drunk?
It's one of the most enduring marriages in showbiz. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, to be together since the hedonistic 80s
Yes.
and still be together and still be very strong. That's fantastic. I don't even think the brothers have a great relationship.
Yeah.
Eh? It
I don't know.
doesn't seem like that's... It seems like they're brothers, but they're not like... Not for us to speculate, right? Go back, archive the interview with Gary Kemp. Go listen to that. Do it. The Spandau Ballet man has been married to Shirley since 1988, where they got married
Or
in a...
has he?
Oh, or has he? So now him and his son Roman, they have a podcast together called, for fuck's sakes, My Dad is Martin Kemp.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
Yeah, so they got a podcast together.
Yeah.
He says the occasion may not have been as officially binding as he first thought. He says, me and Mum were in St. Lucia. We were standing on the cliff top overlooking the Caribbean. Mum had this kind of miniskirt, white dress thing on. I remember standing on the cliff top waiting for her. She climbed out the back of a truck to climb up the rocks to get to the cliff top. When she got there was this person that would call her to be the witness, and I don't remember signing anything. I just remember going to the cliff top, giving someone a couple of $100. She basically said to me and Mum, Martin, do you love Shirley? And I said yes. Then she said, Shirley, do you love Martin? And she said yes. And then she said, you're married. It was as basic as that. Then the person that was the waitress, or was that was the witness, bought us a bottle of champagne and opened the bottle of champagne. He says there were no vows, and he's always worried it wasn't legal. I've always avoided this. I don't want to tell Mum. I don't think we're married. I can't remember signing anything.
But then surely she doesn't remember signing anything either.
So for all these years, they've gone, shit, we're probably not married.
Doesn't matter.
Shirley has previously revealed how it was George Michael who set her up with Martin. I did fancy Martin, as many girls did. We bumped into him and he gave me his number. Shirley was too shy to call him, so George took it upon himself to dial Martin's number and hand it over before she got a chance to stop him. Sweet. That's a great love. I hope they're married.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's a common union. It's a
also
true
like,
union.
It's just paperwork. It really is just paperwork.
It is. We don't go by labels here. I think he's wearing the shirt I bought. In that picture, that looks like flamingos. Fantastic.
Speaking of long marriages, I am listening to the John Bon Jovi interview on Smartless.
Okay. Yeah, him and his... Yeah, they'd be married forever.
They literally since high school.
Yeah.
Since high school.
Yeah.
Crazy.
She pops up in the Bon Jovi documentary on Hulu.
Yes, they spoke about the documentary, which I still have to try and see. But
Like I tell you, I'm nobody's cut off denim's bitch. That's Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi's a businessman.
it's a very good interview. I didn't know he had problems with his vocal cords. And he had to have surgery.
I told you he's got this weird laser thing.
Yeah, I know. He said he might not actually be able to sing again.
Yeah.
And if he can't sing properly, he's giving it up.
It definitely...
He's not going to try.
In the documentary, you definitely see it as a huge point of contention. Like I say, he's got this weird little laser thing that goes on him. His son got married to Stranger Things girl.
Yes, that's her.
They got married the past 2 weeks, I think, officially.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of Bon Jovi. That is a relationship that's lasted long.
Yeah.
Do you want to finish off with a list? We ranked families. I love these lists.
Yeah.
I hope you love them too, because
I do.
we, as listeners, I hope the listeners love them, because you and I love them. We love them. I'm so glad Martin Kemp's wearing the shirt I bought. That's fantastic.
Yes.
That's fantastic for me. Okay. This one is called the 10 cheesiest 80s movies ranked. And in the masthead, it's got Howard the Duck, Bill and Ted, and Teen Wolf. Now, I don't know which one. Which Teen Wolf? I can't make out.
But
Let's
isn't Teen Wolf 2 from the 90s?
Let's rank these 80s movies, the cheesiest 80s movies. Number 10, The Never Ending Story. Childhood classic, 10th cheesiest movie. It is cheesy.
Is it?
It is cheesy.
Isn't it traumatizing?
It's very traumatizing.
Do those things go together?
Yeah.
It has cheesy moments. But I wouldn't say it's a cheesy
It's
movie.
not cheesy.
No.
It's lovely.
It's great.
Is this movie cheesy? Adventures in Babysitting.
Don't remember it.
It is what it is. Babysitter goes out to the kids. We've seen that movie 100 times before.
Yeah,
but I think
mean,
this is the first
I
one.
definitely watched it at some point, but it's not really memorable.
Do you remember a movie called The Monster Squad? That's number 8. A box office flop and universally panned by critics. Why have I not spoken about it before?
Yeah, totally in your wheelhouse.
Of course, this movie has earned cult status, but it's the universal lineup of classic movie monsters: Dracula the Wolfman, Frankenstein's monster, the Mummy, and the creature from the Black Lagoon. But as they take upon a group of ordinary young kids. So it's them hanging out with kids.
Okay. I mean, it sounds watchable. I don't know. Never heard of it.
Damn it. Why did I discover it now?
It's okay. You can talk about it on a future
That is
episode.
Monster Squad. Okay, so Teen Wolf, the first one. They say is actually a step back from Michael J. Fox's last film, which I think he had done Back to the Future. And then his next movie was Teen Wolf.
It was fun.
I don't think they ever expected Back to the Future to be what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have to think of pitching Back to the Future back then, and you're going, okay, we've got Michael J. Fox. In this movie, he gets in a car and goes back to the 50s. In this movie, he turns into a wolf. They both sound ridiculous on paper, as ridiculous as each other.
Exactly.
You know? Then they go, okay, we fucked up the first Back to the Future. In the next one, we're going to go to the future. And we're going to have a hoverboard, and he's going to have these Nikes that tie themselves. I said, yes, guys, why did we have to make a stupid version of that to make the better one? But anyway, people learn. Flashdance, number 6.
Oh. I mean, leg warmers.
Was it cheesy in the 80s, though? It's probably cheesy now because it's been memed so much.
Yeah, but in the 80s, it was totally normal.
It was empowering. It was awesome. You know, I mean, good grief. Jennifer Beal. What are we talking about here? This was cheesy as hell. Second mention of it today, Masters of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren. And Frank Langella, of all people, as Skeletor.
I enjoyed that movie.
Courtney Cox. That movie was so cheesy, but I loved it. I ate it up.
It would have been cheesy, though.
It was cheesy then.
Yeah.
It was based on He-Man. How can it not be cheesy?
Exactly.
It was that
But
movie.
good cheesy.
I mean, Dolph Lundgren's nipples. I mean, I'm looking at them. They're perfectly circular. They are perfectly circular. I mean,
Thought we'd go one episode without a mention of them, but boy, was I wrong.
you know, it reminds me of that song that we got AI to write about Dolph Lundgren's nipples. If you missed it, we're going to put it back on that 80 Show SA Facebook page. It will become a hit.
Yes.
It will live in perpetuity, getting
In
me
your head.
royalties.
Yes.
Getting royalties. Cheesy movies. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
That's pretty cheesy.
It was very cheesy, but I
Yeah.
loved it though.
No, it was completely unique in its
I
time.
loved the way they spoke. I loved the I
It's
loved
the only
everything.
time Keanu Reeves could actually act himself.
He's not a great actor, but
No.
yet
He was great in that role.
he's great. He's great in everything, but he's not a great actor. Very weird. Revenge of the Nerds. Now,
Ooh.
you wouldn't say it's cheesy. You got a whole different opinion
Oh,
on Revenge of the Nerds.
yeah.
The
I don't think
original.
I'd say it's cheesy.
I loved Revenge of the Nerds.
I know.
I loved all of them. Weird Science. You said the other day you don't remember it.
I don't. I need to rewatch it and then I will talk about it on the show.
So Weird Science, of course, is these two high school nerds, a John Hughes movie,
Create a woman.
create a woman.
Yes.
Now, Dori, do they create an ugly woman?
Why would they?
Do they create a woman who doesn't walk around in her underpants? No, Dori.
It's the 80s.
It's the 80s. Okay? So they create a friggin' gorgeous woman who
I mean,
walks
it's
around
pretty
in her
cheesy,
panties.
I think, right?
It is very cheesy. And the cheesiest movie of the Kelly LeBrock.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly LeBrock.
Yeah.
I also create her.
What happened to her?
She still pops up in stuff.
Does she?
I want
I
to
wouldn't recognize her.
kill her off. I think she could have died. Did
no.
she?
Okay, I'm checking.
Now, if you don't know, Dori and I have a tendency, we just stopped doing it now, where we think certain people from the 80s are dead. And most often they're not. Number one, of course, like I said, is In the Masthead, cheesy movie, Howard the Duck. The weirdest thing was he had sex with Lily Tomlin. Was it Lily Tomlin? Not Lily Tomlin, Leah Thompson.
Wow.
That is very different.
So different.
That's so different. That's two different movies. So many different feelings. Okay,
I
no.
don't remember that, by the way. That's
He
a bit
did.
scary.
Well, they didn't. I mean, it was definitely implied that they were having sex. But don't ducks have a hook? I don't want to get into it. Anyway, so Howard the Duck, I loved it. I remember for one of my birthday parties as a kid, we hired Howard the Duck, and my friends were over the moon that we're going to watch Howard the Duck. It was like just the coolest thing for us.
I think I went to go see it on the big screen, embarrassingly.
No, not embarrassing. Stop thinking.
I
In the
know.
80s, we were
Okay.
more, our minds were different.
By the way, before we end, I watched the new Ghostbusters. I
Yes.
didn't hate it. I
Okay.
think I was expecting it to be so terrible.
So this is what Ghostbusters Frozen
Frozen
Empire.
Empire.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Yes.
Okay.
Didn't hate it.
Okay.
I think I was expecting it to be unwatchable. It's not unwatchable.
All right. What? Now, like I say, I keep getting suckered into it because
Yeah.
I keep looking for the 80s Ghostbusters, the feel that I want.
Yeah, you see, I wasn't expecting that. So maybe that's why I wasn't disappointed.
You kind of went, I'm looking at this with fresh eyes. I'm not going to, there's some old guys there. I don't quite understand how they fit into the picture.
They're there for a reason, for the nostalgia thing.
And did that get you, or you just went, no?
No, I was very happy when I saw Bill Murray.
I love it when he finds the booze. I think that's a nice little Easter egg.
It was cool, and my kid was like, I assume this is one from the original. I mean, they've seen the original.
Yes.
Seen the original Ghostbusters, but I don't even remember the original Ghostbusters. So it's like, oh, is that one of the original? Yes, that's one of the originals.
Okay.
It was cool. It had funny moments. It was entertaining. There was a twist to it which I didn't see coming.
What is a twist?
Eh?
I don't think it was a twist.
Well, the one ghost you thought was good turned out to not be good.
Oh,
and then,
yeah, oh, no,
but
I
then redeemed herself.
I suspected her from the beginning. Short hair.
Yeah.
I don't trust women in movies with short hair.
Okay.
They're always shenanigans.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my, maybe I have a bias, but a woman in a movie with short hair is going to pull a trick on you.
There were some funny moments
bangs.
because there were two comedians in the movie, so
there
they were
were,
going to
yeah.
be, and you feel like they ad libbed a lot of their lines.
Okay.
So they were funny.
Okay.
It was entertaining. If you go in expecting absolutely nothing, look, don't go watch it at movies.
I did.
Oh, you see.
And the problem is they'll release another one and I will go watch it because I'll be expecting. And then they'll have the sound of Ecto 1. And then the Ghostbusters logo will come up on screen and it'll be like the original one. I'm like, oh my word. And then, because remember in Ghostbusters 2, the ghost went to 2. It was the best. And then Slime will be, they're going to get me. And then Ray Parker Jr. Dun, 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 dun.
There
And
was even a little bit of that in this movie.
There-
They
it
played
was
a little
there.
bit of Ghostbusters.
It was there. Paul Rudd
Yeah.
kind of even uses the lyrics.
Yeah.
And they
Oh, that was cool.
They
That was
get me
funny.
all the time, Dori.
Yeah, you see, so they're trying to reel the old fans in, and then they're trying to get the new
They
fans.
get me. Hook. Chuk. Got me.
Look, as a standalone, it's not a great movie. It isn't. It's not a
No,
great movie.
no, it's terrible. It's
but
about frozen
I was
ghosts.
really expecting it to be way worse.
Okay, well, you know what? If I did anything, I set your bar real low.
You did help
And then
in
you
that
were
regard.
like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't like the mother character at all.
I love her as an actress.
Yeah, I don't like that character. Anyway, so that is Dori not hating on the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Any movie with Bill Murray, you can't hate. It's a rule.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Oh, even the one where he was Scarlett Johansson's father. And then when Japan?
Was it her father?
Who was he then?
Oh God. Okay, let's just. We're done.
Oh, well, this has been That 80s Show. Everything we spoke about on the show. You can find That 80s Show essay on Facebook. Looking forward to Dori watching the Married with Children animated trailer and then agreeing with me that they were the best 80s sitcom family.
No.
Not even close, even with Dr. Bull Huxtables and Bill Cosby's shenanigans. Anyway, the best thing about that whole segment is you remind me of Sanford and Son, and I damn love Sanford and Son.
So great.
I'm coming. What is the wife's name? I'm coming, Helen. I'm coming. What keeps having heart attacks? Anyway, That 80 Show is a Facebook page. Thanks for joining me, Dori. Goodbye.
Bye.